game is really where
The
it's at.
background revolution since COVID has like gone downhill. I feel like it's not utilized as much.
That could be, but we are live. I still can't figure out how to get a cool background like you, but welcome to It's 5 o'clock somewhere, Mike.
Welcome. It's been a while. How are you?
Has been a while. Yeah, I'm good. It's almost 5 o'clock here in Israel. I know it's bright and early for you in Denver,
Yeah.
Boulder.
Right. Brian, you're getting the kids ready to go to school. Last day of school's tomorrow.
Whoa, you guys and early. What's
Yep.
that? Whoa, when do they go back to school? Like August 1st?
Mid-August. Yeah.
Wow, it's crazy. So when does
Yeah.
camp start?
Friday.
Whoa, great. It's a great setup. Nice. Okay, cool. Well, the Colacchio home's got it all figured out.
Yeah.
Um, Speaking of having it all figured out, today we're going to talk about, well, first of all, I had massive FOMO because I wasn't at DMSC this year. So, and Mike was on quite a few panels. So, Mike's going to give us a little glimpse on what he spoke about specifically when it comes to AI agents, LLMs. Everyone's talking about them. We live and breathe it here at Fullpath. So, we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then like what to expect as an industry with AI.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say first of all, it was a great conference. There was a lot of people there. Great venue, great golf
Yeah, new
tournament.
venue.
New venue, great golf tournament at the end, which was also really cool. Good addition there, Mr. Pash. But there was two topics. I think if everyone took a shot anytime they heard the word AI and CDP, I don't think anyone would have made it to the end of the night throughout the day,
It's
which
a
is
good
really
game
cool.
though.
Yeah, it's a great game. Um, but I would say like if you look at that and if you move back and if you look at our world, we kind of blend in between two. We obviously are a CDP and brought that to the industry 3 years ago, which before people looked at us like we had three heads, and now
Yeah.
it's CDPs are the talk of the town, which is awesome, and it's really cool because it's driving innovation. We love competition when people do stuff, and we tend to think that we're innovative, and if we see other stuff out there, we always want to take a look and see how we can adapt and improve. The other thing is AI, which obviously you can't scroll through X or Twitter or look at Facebook or see a LinkedIn post or a news article that is not bleeding with AI or anything. So I think those two things are really cool. And if you look at what and we never knew like this whole agentic chat GPT revolution was going to happen, but the CDPs really set you up to be in the forefront, to be the data infrastructure for AI, which we can
Yeah.
chat about a little bit more. But that's kind of what my view was like at the show. And there was a lot of great companies, catching up with a lot of people, and you can really see that people are really starting to grasp the concept of the power of CDPs. So that mainstay of tech stack is your CRM, DMS, and CDP is here to stay. So that's definitely one thing we saw.
Yeah, and I'm sure it came up a lot in terms of like, well, I don't know. I guess I'll ask you. Did the CDP is really, like you said, the foundation? AI can only really ingest whatever it's given, right? So you want to make sure that you have that strong data foundation so that the AI can actually work off of whatever you're feeding it. I think that's why CDPs first of all came first in this whole tech revolution in automotive, but two, I think that's I know that this industry likes to like jump to the next shiny thing, and I think I'm all for it. But I do think it's really important for dealers to understand that this as an infrastructure is going to make the AI agents and the next AI adoption for dealers will only work if you have that foundation. So
Yeah.
really focusing on making sure that that CDP foundation is strong, accurate, consolidated, integrated,
Yeah.
and then you'll have a really strong system.
Yeah, I would say like, and this is probably going to sound weird coming from us, but and I mentioned this when I was talking out there, but AI as we know it and what was AI is now commoditized.
Yeah.
Okay, now what that means is that anyone, including me, a dumb sales guy, can go in and code a chatbot over the weekend.
Yeah.
So the barrier to entry into AI is becoming very low. So if you look at other things like, if you listen to podcasts, a lot of people are saying like, if I go to school for coding, the coding by the time, my kids go to school is just going to be more like the coding is going to be human language and prompts.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we had, and I'll share just a little bit of the presentation that we had at Patch, but there's two things here. Is one is the core infrastructure is that you need to have all of the data, meaning the corpus for your AI to actually work and be really powerful, has to ingest all of the data that you have to actually spit out a really good output for either the agent or the agentic stuff where you're doing business intelligence or anything like that. So that's where the CDPs are really the kind of linchpin for any AI build, is where now it can bounce off of the CDP, which ingests inherently by design all of your data from your first party data, your web activity, your CRM data, your DMS data, and all that stuff. So that's really powering to have the best, A, response, B, experience for any AI application. And I think this is just a really good visual to really articulate that, because if you don't, getting back to me being a dumb sales guy, is that if I can go on and literally write a chatbot, as you can see here, this is directional, meaning what I put
What was
in.
can we see your prompt here or no?
My prompt here is, it says, I'll create a comprehensive solution for your automotive lead response chatbot. Let's start with a script that handles ADF
Okay, cool.
XML parsing, question answering, and appointment scheduling. And you can see it's like going through and coding.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, what you said, I just listened to an interview with Brian Benstock from Paragon Honda, who said AI is not going to replace you, but people who know how to use it will. And I
right.
feel like if that's not a wake up call, I don't know what is. Because like, look at this. I mean, you got to know how to prompt it and use it. This is insane. So did it work?
It did. Actually, I actually built one that is monitoring TRD Pro prices in Denver. So if any dealers in Denver, Boulder have a really good deal on a TRD Pro, hit me up. But that is like that's,
You could build that for me for my next house in Miami or Fort Lauderdale.
yeah, I will. And it could probably negotiate for you on behalf, although you're a pretty good negotiator.
That's your next task.
But that also like articulates, because if that is just directional, meaning I read the ADF and I say, Ilana is interested in a Honda Civic, and then I respond back and say, hey, can I answer any questions about your Honda Civic? That's directional. Now, I always use airlines because I travel a lot. When you call an airline and you call in, and maybe you have status, maybe you don't, but if you do, when you call in, they know everything about you.
Yeah.
Hey,
I've identified who you are from your phone number.
Yeah. I know where you're going. I know what seat you're in. I know what time you're traveling. I know what airport you're going to. Now, if you take that, the only way that happens is like that's feeding off of a CDP-esque tool that can feed that direction. And if you get into voice, the CDP only becomes way more powerful, because then I can see, hey, how often you've done business with the dealership. Say, hey, thanks for being a loyal customer. Are you calling about the service on your X, Y, and Z?
Yeah.
Right. So that is also, and if you look at the voice stuff for applications right now, that's also a little bit directional. That's handling service appointments.
Yeah.
So, I think
And that's really the next gen. Like, voice AI came out probably a few years ago, but it wasn't it wasn't ingesting. It was just reactive, right?
Yeah.
You're basically saying now it's reactive, proactive, and like bi-directional, which is awesome. So,
Yeah.
so before we end here, just because I think again, I don't know if this came up at the conference, but I think this will like be where all the conversations will lead. Practically for a dealer, knowing everything that we just talked about, knowing that the data's got to be good, they need the CDP, CRM, DMS component, they need obviously the AI agent set up. What do you think is like? What are practical examples of AI agents for dealerships? Like, where do you think it's going to go for dealers? BDC AI agents, audience AI agents, like give us a few examples.
I think there's a little bit of like a flywheel component on the agent. So if you look at the different personas in the dealership, I think there's going to be a lot. I think the easiest one to tackle is the BDC component. That's going to be doing full. Which there's a lot of tools. There's also like any BDC lead response. There's a new one literally every single week that
Yeah,
comes
I
out.
saw that.
So that is one. Now
Also,
again,
I
a
know there
lot
was
of
a lot
that.
of buzz about we weren't at Asoto, but I heard a lot of buzz coming out of there
Yeah.
on that.
So, but again, a lot of that is more directional, right? So, what can you then do with the data is to then query. Like when we rolled out data ups, is a whole different kind of like arena of going up funnel. When I know Brian was talking a lot about this at the conferences. If you're still looking at a lead source report in your CRM for effectiveness, of marketing spend, you're behind, because that's just the last touch, and there's way more that happens up funnel.
So
Um,
you want more of like an AI summary of what's going on every single lead
yeah,
source, data source.
yeah. Well, I think there's that, and then also like shortening the time to value of which we do right now with our data ops platform for clients when we go in and train them. Is if you have a BDC agent that is probably let's call them an hourly employee, and they probably turn over you know 60-70% of the time. You're in this constant cycle where you can basically take the upfront brunt task and reduce that down to a smaller amount, which you can actually be much more effective. There's a whole bunch of stuff like, if you're coming in for service and I know you're in equity, I can then drip you a message to say, hey, saw you were looking at this, and here's the vehicle, and also, oh, here's the payment, and all that stuff from a service standpoint at GM. I mean, the ability that you can do and query is really endless. But I think getting back to the beginning is that the core data infrastructure that you need to power that is the ingestion of all the data, which is the CDP infrastructure. You can't do it with
Yeah,
CRM because that's static data.
correct.
DMS is only transactional.
Well, static and siloed, so
Right.
it's irrelevant.
So,
Right.
but I think it's going to be really powerful if anyone watched the Google update yesterday for their AI. It's the compounding innovation of AI, of the LLMs, like the Googles, the Groks, the Claudes, all that stuff. The compounding effect of that innovation is unreal. Like they
It's
probably squashed 100 startup companies yesterday just by pushing an update. So like
but it's
that.
insane how the innovation is so fast, and it's like it's so meta because it's like the innovation is so fast because of the generative AI. So it's
Right.
insane.
Yeah.
It's really wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. Well, we'll stay tuned. This was awesome. Thanks for the insights. And as always, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. So cheers. I don't have my wine, unfortunately, but I do have my lame water bottle. So
I have some
cheers.
coffee.
There you go. Till next time.
All right.
Bye
See
bye.
ya. Bye.